Welcome to this week's podcast where I am talking all about the procrastination trap. Hands up if you procrastinate. My hand, if you're not watching me on Zoom, has just gone up. And I really think this is something that every human does. So please don't use this episode as another reason to beat yourself up. I invite you to use this episode as an awareness exercise and then hopefully a skill learning exercise. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about why you procrastinate, and then I'm going to give you a really simple solution to overcome it. So let's first of all define what we mean when we talk about procrastination. So, procrastination, if you Google the definition of procrastination, it is this: the action of delaying or postponing something. I've got it here on my phone. The action of delaying or postponing something. And then just beneath that, it's got what is the real meaning of procrastination? And in Google's response, to be slow or late about doing something that should be done, to delay something until a later time because you do not want to do it, because you are lazy, etc. This is the first bit that I would like to talk about. I don't necessarily see procrastination as lazy. Of course, there will be some people that are literally doing nothing and they're procrastinating and they are doing nothing, as in sat on the sofa moaning. Of course, there will be people that are doing that. But most of us aren't being lazy, quote unquote. Most of us are actually busy doing stuff. We're just not doing what we need to get done. So I actually like to define procrastination as a delaying of. It's busying yourself doing something to avoid doing something else. So, for example, it might be picking up the phone and having an awkward, what you perceive to be an awkward conversation. Maybe you've got a client that you have to give some bad news to, or you have to delay the time frame of something. Or for me, at the moment, I don't really consider myself to be a huge procrastinator. However, I've noticed that I'm putting off going online and ordering my children's school uniform for next year. I'm putting that off because of my money mindset. So we all procrastinate in some way, shape, or form. And here's why. That primitive part of our brain that I've spoke about before, that really old part of our brain that is very loud in our head, is motivated by only three things. Three things motivate it. We call it the motivational triad if you want to look it up further. But that primitive part of our brain, it wants everything to be easy. So it's always trying to conserve energy. Made sense hundreds of thousands of years ago. It always wants to seek any form of pleasure where possible, and it always wants to avoid pain. So when you consider that that part of our brain is only motivated by those three things, seeking pleasure, avoiding pain in the simplest way possible, that is what motivates our brain. So if you have got a task that you are perceiving to be challenging or uncomfortable, of course your primitive brain is not going to want to do it. Of course it's not going to want to do it. It's perceiving this task to be a life-threatening situation. Even if it's writing an email, making a phone call, placing an order for clothes, it is perceiving it to be a life-threatening situation. So, of course, it's going to look for the pleasurable things. Of course, it's going to rather scroll on social media or check your inbox again just in case something urgent has come in or answer that phone call that actually could wait. Have a chat with your mates. Of course, your part of your brain is going to want to do that. That is just being human. The way that we overcome it is actually really simple. And it is this: you just start. You just start. It is actually that straightforward. Because when we engage our higher brain and our logical brain, this is our prefrontal cortex, when we actually take a step back and look at it, we can be like, actually, do you know what? Once that phone call is behind me, my life is so much calmer. Once that task is done, my life is so much calmer. But this sending this email is not life threatening. If anything, it could be life enhancing because when we go into our discomfort zone, the other side of that is self-confidence. So, a lot of the time, what our primitive brain is perceiving to be a life threatening situation is actually a life enhancing situation. And what I think I'm actually going to do is get my husband on to talk about this because he was a huge procrastinator. He would delay everything, and now he doesn't as much. Obviously, he's still human, but he's overcome it. So I think I'll get him on to have a conversation with us about it. But this is how you overcome procrastination. And this, please do this with a lot of compassion for your primal brain. And actually, I would suggest a little bit of humor. So, for example, or me ordering the school uniforms. Logically, I'm like, this is not life threatening. We've got the money. We just need to go on and order it. So, the fact that my brain finds this a life threatening situation, I can actually find quite humorous and I can have a lot of compassion with it. And I think it's as simple as starting and then just reminding your body and reminding your central nervous system that you're safe. Because that's all that's happening. Your brain, part of your brain is perceiving a life-threatening situation. You go into your survival mode and your nervous system is activated. Of course, because your brain thinks you're under threat. But it's just an email. It's just a conversation. It's just an order. For some of you, it's just a decision. So if you're procrastinating over making decisions, I have actually got another podcast on decision making. So go back and listen to that. But it's because we're perceiving some sort of life threat. Whereas actually, when we do the job, when we send the email, when we have the conversation, when we make the decision, it's life enhancing and so much calmer. But your primitive brain won't understand that. Your higher brain does. So taking a nice deep breath. So this is where my ABC comes in, right? A is acknowledge. Acknowledge and listen to what your brain is telling you with compassion. This is not a judgment exercise. This is not another reason to beat yourself up. So be kind to that part of you that's trying to save your life because it literally thinks that's the case. And B is breathe. Take a really nice deep breath. And you can even move your body back. And this is the point where you understand, of course, part of me wants to put this off. It's perceiving it to be really painful, really uncomfortable, life threatening. Isn't that funny? It's actually quite entertaining because I know that once I've done it, I'm going to feel so much better afterwards. So now you're engaging your prefrontal cortex and you're making a choice. So C is for choose. Choose to listen to your higher brain. Choose to think something different. And it might be that you choose to go, right, okay, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I am sitting down and I'm doing that thing. I'm making that phone call. I'm ordering that thing. I'm going to make that decision by that point. And then Tuesday or tomorrow at 2 o'clock, of course, your brain's going to try and give you all the things, but you're just going to start. You're going to acknowledge that your brain's trying to stop you. You're going to breathe, and then you're going to choose to do something different. You're going to choose to just start. I'm just going to start. Even if I just do 10 minutes on this report, even if I just send the initial email, even if I just pick up the phone, I'm just going to start. And the more that you do that, the better and stronger your skill will become at doing that. Whereas if you keep procrastinating and you keep delaying and you keep busying yourself with other tasks, that's what you're going to get good at. So this is a skill. It's a skill that you've never been taught. No one has actually ever told you, hey, do you know you have a choice? You have a choice to either listen to your higher brain or your primitive brain. One is helping you, your higher brain will help you. Your primitive brain literally just thinks everything's life threatening. It wants to keep you safe. But you get to choose. And that choice is a skill that you get to practice. So I really hope this helps you, first of all, understand procrastination. It's not lazy, it's your primitive brain perceiving a threat. And that's okay. You are human. The way to overcome it is to realize you actually have a choice. And you do know when you're procrastinating, and you do know how much better you'll feel when you get it done. So this is, I think, the toxic part of procrastinating is we procrastinate, we then know we're procrastinating, and we then beat ourselves up for that. That bit is totally optional, my friend. Use that awareness as the key to unlocking overcoming procrastination. Don't use that awareness as a tool to beat yourself up further. I hope this helps. As always, if you have any questions, please get in touch because I'd love to help you. And I'll speak to you all again next week. Bye bye.